Hi, this is David Roberts with Roberts Business Services, and I'm here to present another video on common mistakes in QuickBooks. One of the features of QuickBooks is the ability to do payroll. Now, I'll warn you in advance, it is not the cheapest payroll service that you can find. However, you've got to realize that when you go with a third-party payroll service, what you have to do in QuickBooks is you have to enter in the information that the payroll service then gives to you. Now, a few of them will have what's called an IIF file that will import the data into QuickBooks, and that's very helpful. However, if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up with a really messed up set of books. Now, if you plan on doing payroll yourself, which I advise against, you have to understand that each one of these different accounts for each employee has to be entered. Regular pay, of course, doesn't change very often. The overtime rate won't, but with Obamacare coming in and messing up a lot of people's books, you've got to understand that you may have to provide health insurance, or at least offer it and give your employees the chance to turn you down. Medicare, federal withholding, Social Security, Medicare, and here in this example it's California state withholding and California disability. Now each state is going to have its own separate taxes that it wants you to take out of the employee pay and contribute to as a company to your employees' pay. But for California, it's this one and this one. You have to be up to date on each one of those, because if you aren't and something changes, a percent changes, or the minimum for unemployment changes, which happens a lot, you will be liable for that information, and you will have to calculate it yourself and put that in here. This is the employee summary of what the employee is getting and what the employee is paying. So you see he's getting $1,380 in regular pay, nothing in overtime, and out of that he's paying $1,250 for insurance, $80 for withholding, and so forth and so on down this way. Now you come over here to this box and you see all of the contributions that your company is giving to hire this employee. So this is your share of Social Security, of Medicare, of federal unemployment, the California employee training tax, California unemployment, and so on and so forth. You have to remember when doing payroll that everything has got to be entered correctly, or you get audited. And if you get audited and you've made just a simple mistake, the IRS can shut your company down until that mistake is rectified. So I'm not working for Intuit. I do use QuickBooks and teach people on QuickBooks, but my honest answer when somebody asks what should we do for payroll is use Intuit's payroll, because everything automatically goes into QuickBooks. And if you ever have an issue with the IRS, Intuit takes care of it for you. Okay? That in itself is more valuable than you can imagine. So we're going to look at some of the things that you need to be aware of to add a new employee. We're going to go to the Employees tab here in the Employee Center and put in the new employee. Okay, name and address, you know all that. It's really self-explanatory, but you've got to be able to put in, are they disabled? Do you have an I-9 form? If you don't, you need to have one and you need to keep it on file. Are they a military veteran? Yes or no? Address and contact, this is all common knowledge stuff. Additional info, if you want to keep an account number or employee ID here for them to be able to log into your third app time clock thing, then you assign them an account number for them to be able to do that. Payroll info, you have to have a payroll schedule. Now, a payroll schedule is how often you pay them. And the reason that it allows you to choose that is because some companies will have salaried employees getting paid once a month and hourly employees getting paid bi-weekly. So you've got to be aware of what your schedule is. So we're going to just put bi-weekly. Class you don't have to worry too much about. Direct deposit allows you to put in their information for their bank account, routing number, and checking number. Depending upon the bank, you have to be aware that some banks have a different number that's on the check as the account number than they have for direct deposits or ACH, and some of them have different bank numbers for that, so you've got to be aware of that. All right, we're going to go into taxes, and look at this. This is what you'll find on the W-4 form when you fill it out and tell your employer how many allowances you want to claim. Legally, you can claim as many as you want, but that means that the more you claim, the less they take out of your pay. And that sounds good, but at the end of the year, if you don't have the 8 allowances you're claiming during the year, you're going to end up owing taxes back to the government. Very few people ever take advantage of the extra withholding because it's money that is put in that isn't earning interest or anything of that nature. But this is the extra withholding right here. Now, whether or not your state has a state income tax, you have to put your state here. For example, Florida does not have a state income tax. But you have to put it here to calculate the state unemployment rate. If you don't, it leads to some trouble. But this example is California, which has state unemployment and state disability. So we're going to put both of those there. California also allows you to claim allowances so that your taxable income it's not reduced. They take less out for California taxes. Same situation with the federal. If you claim too many allowances, you may end up owing at the end of the year. Filing status: single, married, married with 2 incomes, head of household, or don't withhold at all. If you click don't withhold, that means that you are exempt from withholding, which means you're a full-time student or one of the other many things that allows you to get away with that. Other is any other type of extra account that you need to assign that falls in line with the taxes, or if it's like alimony that is forcibly deducted from someone's paycheck, or child support. That would be put here, and then you would be able to have that assigned just to one employee. We're going to click OK because we're done there, and go on to the next. Employment info, their hire date, their release date, type of employment. This is really just for people who maybe they're part owner in the business and they have a salary, so you can make this one an officer or a statutory or temporary worker here, or you're the owner and you're putting yourself in as payroll. This is what you would choose to put yourself in. Full or part-time, all of these are common knowledge, but you want to make sure that these are filled out and don't forget. Now, the workers' comp code is the code that is assigned to your industry for the job that the worker is doing, and it's not something you can make up yourself. So you've got to go to your state's workers' comp information site, see what the code is, and put it in. And then it will allow you to create a percentage for that code that is deducted out of pay or deducted out of the company's contribution to pay for workers' comp insurance for that person. Back up to personal. We're not going to add anything. We're just going to get out of here. That's the basics of employees and payroll. And like I said, I cannot stress enough the importance of choosing to use Intuit's payroll services. If you're already with someone else and they don't allow you to have an IIF file to import things, one thing you don't want to do is take the total amount out of your bank account and assign it to payroll expenses, because you're going to need a breakdown of that. And sometimes these payroll companies don't like handing out breakdowns to the owner of the business. They'll send the W-2s, and most of them do a pretty good job. but breaking it down makes it really easy for you to do it yourself, and that would kind of put them out of a job. That is the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something, and if you need any help, just please call the number on your screen or send me an email at davidstephenroberts@gmail.com. Thank you.